I'm a super practical person, which I know you are too.
Yes.
And so I would love to like just give people some practical tools about how to cultivate a personal relationship with God and press in.
Yeah. I think that our role as leaders is always to connect people straight to him. You know, it's like you have a telephone. I'm not your telephone, but let me show you how to pick your own phone up and how to connect with the Lord.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's happening in the church. I think that we're like having to learn, how do I it's not just somewhere I go. It's not just something that I, pop on a podcast, although that's so great. Shows like this are so great, but how do I get there myself? How do I not always look to the person to tell me what God's saying, but how can I hear what he's saying? So I love that.
I love it. I went to a school of ministry, and one of the biggest things that we noticed was that people would come to the school and they would be under this anointing, of the leaders of that house and the teaching of that house. And essentially they were stepping into a well that had been dug for the last 60 years. And they were experiencing miracles and signs and wonders and all of that. And then when they went back to their home and they all of a sudden weren't drinking from that well anymore, it was a bit of a shock to them, because they're like, whoa, what happened? I thought that I was drinking from my well, but really they were drinking from someone else's well.
Wow.
And there was this shock of culture of like, well, now you're back wherever you're planted.
Yeah.
And you have to now learn to make history with God. You now have to learn how to dig your own well and not be fed from someone else's well.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's easier said than done.
It is easier said than done.
What are some ways that you found, like, how do you dig your own well?
Yeah. I think that we have to first remember that the Lord wants to be in every single part of our lives. He is like in the middle of parenting, in the middle of my kitchen, my car, my shower, like he's in the middle of all of those things. And so I try to spend time with him every morning, but I've got 4 little kids. So sometimes there's a kid pulling at my leg or like whining at me or wanting breakfast or, needing
life.
And so, but I think it's no matter what state you find yourself in. If like I wake up one day and I'm feeling down that day. If I wake up and I'm feeling anxious that day. If I wake up and I'm feeling great that day. No matter what I'm dealing with in my life, is that knowing that the Lord wants to be in the middle of that. And so when I come to him, what I do is I'm coming to him and I'm like, I will open up whatever's going on in my heart and my life, and I turn it into worship.
Yeah.
So that looks like me in my I'm frustrated with my husband, or whatever. I'm stressed at all the things that have to happen today.
Right.
Or I'm weary, or I'm tired, or that baby kept me up all night. And I bring those things, and I like to picture them like firewood. And so I like to picture all the things that I'm facing, the thoughts, the feelings, and I just bring them all before him. And I just begin to worship him with it says that we worship God in spirit and in truth.
Yeah.
And so in truth means there's nothing hidden here. And so I'm coming to you with all the things today, Lord. And so starting with just being very real and open with him. So that's where I would start.
I love that.